This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back. We are going to dig back into our conversation with this neuromuscular and rehab specialist. And this conversation is about something that can help you feel better if you've got chronic pain, if you're going through some physical challenges, even on the mental side. And this is something that's been around for 150 years. Today, we're going to focus on the medical community and how they embrace what's known as the Alexander technique. Going to dig deep with our professional of the year. Travis Chastain is back with us. How are you doing today?
Steve, I'm great. How are you today? It's exciting to be here.
Terrific. And I'm intrigued to learn more about this technique and how it's being used in the medical world. And even before we get there, why don't we do a reset? New people are finding podcasts all the time. The Alexander technique, how do you explain it?
The Alexander technique is a way of using stimuli, which we're bombarded with every moment of every day, to move our coordination to a place that's continually improving, move our posture to a space that's continually improving, that we're not subject to the whims of fate so much around our posture, right? That we can use our thoughts to improve our well-being, the health of the body, the ease in the body and the mind, whether we're at work or at rest. It's a practical working guide for life and bringing the best out of our coordination in this moment and that moment.
What resonated for me when I first learned about this through you was these two words, holding tension, holding tension. And it seems that we're all doing it because of the traumas in our past. And they can be small traumas, large traumas, but we hold on to it because the body remembers down to the cellular level. We think that, I was in a situation, I don't know, it was like 5-10 years ago, and that was then, this is now. You may even still be dealing with something physically left over from something that transpired a number of years ago, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's one of many things that we hold on to from a place of habitual tension, right? We hold on to just learning how to sit improperly when we're in school. Maybe that's an emotional thing. Maybe it's just boredom. Who knows, right? There's a number of ways that we can get our postural network out of tune. One of those things is emotional trauma. One of those things is just not being mindful in the moment, right? It doesn't take much. Doesn't take much.
I'm seeing the more and more I learn about all of this, how we do hold on to things. And I talked to a professional organizer who's also a life coach. And she said, people who are messy, they might even say, I'm just messy. That's just the way I am. She says, no, absolutely not. If somebody's disorganized, call it messy, whatever, it's because of a trauma, something in their past. It's not just that's just the way I am. So for me, that's more evidence of how we hold on to things and how we could be holding on to things, even our posture. That could be from something from the past that happened. Maybe you don't feel that you're worthy enough. Maybe something happened when you were a kid, and then your posture is not the greatest. And then what does that lead to? Pain, discomfort along the way, right?
Yeah. I mean, we learn how to carry these things from our traumas for sure. We learn how to carry shapes from our traumas for sure. We can learn how to carry compensatory habits of tension to hold our lives together if we have been traumatized, or to ignore things or to hold things, right? Yeah, absolutely. And we absolutely have to bring these things to light.
Well, what is that book called? The Body Keeps Score?
And keep score in the framework of tensions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you hold those things.
Everything is tension. The stress related to almost everything in our lives. And I want to ask you, when you started learning about this technique, did it change your posture, even just the day-to-day stuff in your life?
Well, I went from 6'3 3/4" when I started the training program to 6'4 1/4" after I finished. So there's no doubt. No
Mm.
doubt. It seems like I keep growing despite the fact that I'm in my adulthood for some mysterious reason, you know. So yeah, it improves your posture all the time. And it gives you a command of your posture, right? Not in a way that demands hours upon hours of exercise here or there, but just recognizing that you got poles. And what I mean by that is you got a head and you got heels. And if I just bring some awareness to that and ask for some ease there, there's a little shift here, there's a little shift in my back there. If I recognize I have a pull in my left shoulder to my right shoulder, I can invite a little bit of ease there, just through simply acknowledging the fact that I have them. I feel a little release in the tensions in my back. I get a little bit more upright.
Hmm.
When things go away from each other, everything in the middle gets to thrive and relax in that space of things releasing away from one another. And it's simply just giving yourself the time to pause and become aware of yourself, right? To pause and be aware of yourself instead of the thing that is in front of you to do, right? Yes, the thing in front of you to do is important, but you're the one who has to do the thing that's in front of you. So how we use ourselves in the response to this stimuli of doing, that becomes kind of the game of whether it's going to be a success or a failure, a long-term sustainable act, or something that's going to lead to wall after wall after wall and trying to attain, right, the goal. It's the difference between being graceful and being clumsy.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we all start clumsily on a subject, but hey, what was I doing in my body that led to that thing? Now I can make the adjustment. Next time it can be a little easier. So you learn so much quicker because of it too.
And we just, as an example, talked about posture. That's
Yeah.
one piece of it. There's so much other things that we hold tension in, be it our neck, our bodies, and, but it doesn't matter. It's the Alexander technique addresses much.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the neck. The neck is very fascinating and how it controls so many things, right?
Mm.
Like we have research on the Alexander technique for musicians, for example. When they focus on easing in the neck, it opens up the shoulder girdle. And these are measurements these are objectable observations that are being made about how it opens up the shoulder girdles just by freeing up the neck and thinking about freeing up the neck. Right? It speaks to how connected everything is. And just by thinking about it, it opens up everything else in the shoulders. And that's how it helps surgeons, for example. When you ease up in your neck, you take the pressure off of your shoulders automatically. FM Alexander called the head neck back relationship the primary control for a reason. When those things start to ease up and communicate better, the shoulders can't help but operate better. The knees can't help but operate better. The legs can't help but operate better. Switch your attention from the thing you're doing into my neck is free. It's really that simple.
So, are you saying that freeing the tension within the neck could make you feel better in so many other areas of your body?
I'm not saying it could, it will.
Uh, are you sure though?
Yes,
I'm
yes, I'm
kidding.
100%.
Wow.
Yes, my friend. Yeah,
Wow.
everything is so intimately connected, right? You get a little bit of adjustment up here. It makes a little bit of adjustment in the head, causes a stretch reflex. You change your position with gravity, that's going to cause a stretch reflex. I can't tell
Hmm.
you how many times I felt something release up here that caused something to release down in my knees or my toes or my heels. And suddenly I'm breathing better. Suddenly I just feel a little bit more hope in my body. Suddenly that thing that I was in despair over doesn't seem so bad anymore. It's interesting. it's interesting how much the tension influences not only how we're feeling in our bodies, but perhaps even the paradigms that we're operating under.
So for you, you learned the technique for a reason, and that was a number of years ago. But
Hmm.
you practice this on a regular basis, right?
I'm practicing it right now. Yes. Every moment of every day, every moment of every day, I try to practice it. I don't succeed all the time, my friend, but I
Hmm.
try, you know, I
All right,
practice it in the
give me an
morning.
example. Here it is,
Hmm.
mid-afternoon. Um,
Yeah.
Today, as your day went on, give me a couple of moments where you practice the technique and why.
Yeah. Well, let's say it's the middle of the day and I have a break from teaching. I'll just rest my back up against the wall, for example. And I'll just notice, okay, well, how's my back behaving and interacting with this wall? The wall doesn't lie. It's going to tell me how I'm interacting with it. I can notice some things about it. What's going well with my body? What's not going so well with my body? I can get curious. And then I can start inviting some specific directions around my whole head, neck, and back. My neck is free. My head is releasing forward and up, and my whole back is lengthening and widening. And then I'll feel little shifts here, little shifts there. It's something that I can be curious about.
Hmm.
Where where are things flowing well, and where am I interfering with the ease and flow in my body? I can get curious about it there. And then I could go for a walk and see how my walking is going, see how the ease is going there, see where I might be interfering, see what I might be holding on to. Just by continually practicing, becoming aware, listening to how I'm moving, listening to how I'm thinking while I'm moving, listening to what I might be thinking about while I'm moving. And above all, doing my best to stop trying to control everything,
Hmm.
right? Stop trying to control how I move and stop trying to try to be free and simply recognize that freedom is just a matter of becoming aware of how I'm interfering with freedom. I was born as a child with perfect freedom in my emotions, and so were you, Steve, and so was everybody. It's a bit of a birthright that we're blessed with. You look at any small child and you look at them with wonder and amazement, how graceful they are. They're just a big ball of light.
It's I want to share my thought here, if I may. I
Sure.
believe when two children are born, assuming they're healthy, they can be born at the same moment. They're the same. Yeah, different background, maybe different language, all of that, but you got a fresh start. Like literally, nothing has been overly bestowed upon them. There are some believe that, it already started in the womb, what they were absorbing from their parents, hearing things and such. But overall, they're the same. And then life begins. And then different things present. And maybe different traumas. I call them little t traumas. It could be whatever it is. But they're the same until life goes on. And then tension starts building. And now they become teens and now they become adults. And there they are, two radically different now human beings, and they're all holding tension. Would you believe that too?
I mean, it's quite obvious, isn't it, when you look at the difference between how a 2-year-old moves, right, and how even a 30 or 40-year-old moves. Somewhere along the line, for sure, Steve, we all we all get lied to. We all get told that somehow we're not enough as we are,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
then we have to be something more than what we are.
Or we believed that based on what we experienced. You may have just 7 years old, you're walking by the kitchen, you hear something, it's not even for you, but you internalize it as a kid, and now you feel like you're not good enough. It could be many different situations. Um, But is that one of the things that hold us back in terms of movement, in terms of adding tension to us? Even a situation like that, thinking that we're not good enough?
Well, yeah, I mean, you hold the invisible weights. That's an invisible weight, thinking and believing you're not good enough.
For sure.
It's a hook. Nobody can see it, but it's there,
It's
tugging at you. It's tugging at you 24/7, right?
it almost it
I mean,
seems
somehow
like
that it can tug on you mentally, but not tug on you physically, that's absurd. Of course it can.
it almost sounds like we're walking around with invisible balls of chain, balls and a chain attached to it, holding back our full mobile freedom because
Mhm.
of a lot of the things that is in our head, like thinking that we're not good enough and many other things.
Yeah, and then we go through our lives trying thinking that we have to prove ourselves to this person and this thing and that thing, right?
Yep.
Holding on the artificial instead of allowing just the beautiful, the beautiful person that God made us to be,
Yep.
you know.
So let's go into the surgical side of things, the medical side of
Yeah.
things, where doctors, even high-end doctors, are using the Alexander technique to improve their efficiency.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the Mayo Clinic offers the Alexander technique, for example, in their health and wellness center, I believe.
Wow.
At least they used to. I think they still do. But um, we have a wonderful study on the Alexander technique and how it helps surgeons. Just by practicing the principles of thinking differently while you're in the act of doing a surgery, what they noticed is that their posture got better. They became less fatigued. They became less posturally fatigued, and they increased their capacity to provide powerful services to people. Let me read exactly what the study said. I think it was fantastic. The Alexander Technique training program resulted in a significant improvement in posture, improved surgical ergonomics, endurance, and decreased surgical fatigue, and the incidence of repetitive stress injuries to laparoscopic surgeons. So
Wow.
they're able to do it longer with less inefficiency, less risk of damage to the body, so that they can help more people longer. And isn't that what we're all here to do, is to help people as long as we can to be the best that they can be? And that's what the Alexander technique can be. It can be a tool to help us with that, to help us with our communications with our loved ones, to help us with our posture, to help us move better. It helps us in so many ways. It's hard to narrow it down, Steve. When you learn how to listen to yourself, you can learn how to listen to others.
Hmm.
When you
Well,
learn how to listen to yourself, you can learn to listen to others.
when you learn how to love yourself, you can properly love others. Same kind of thing. And personally, that surgeon, he's doing work on me. I want to make sure he's at his best, but as best as he can be. And it's
Yeah.
interesting, we talk about these methods of improving mobility, loosening tension, and all of that. There are some surgical facilities where they practice energy healing, i.e., Reiki, before a surgery, just to make sure that the
Mhm.
doctor's on point, staff is on point, even the patient. And I hear too, a lot of times, any of these kind of modalities is sometimes not allowed in those surgical suites because of insurance reasons. But for this, that doctor can learn the technique and use it like you do at any time at will.
Yeah. Yeah. They have great energy in what they're doing.
Yeah.
And if they're tired before they get going, do 5 minutes. Do 5 minutes of the Alexander technique on a wall and see how it changes you. And I can't tell you what 5 minutes does. I'm exhausted, let's say. 5 minutes later, I feel good. I feel refreshed. I feel easy. Give me 10 minutes. Oof, I can go teach for 2 hours. Give me 20 minutes. I can go teach for a whole day. It does some really powerful things for you
So
when it
when
becomes the habit.
somebody connects with you for the Alexander technique, are you doing it on them or showing them how to do it, or you're teaching them so after a number of sessions of working with you, we can do it on our own?
It's all of the above, Steve. That's a very good question. So we start with some hands-on typically, but I try to do as little hands-on as possible because we want people to do this on their own. And beyond that, we want people to be confident that they can know, hey, I noticed that you didn't have your hands on helping me improve my posture, improve the ease in my back, but I noticed the changes for myself. I noticed I thought this way with curiosity. And ease started to come into my body. That gives them confidence, Steve, that they can do it on their own. Right. So yeah, we put hands on when needed. We move them when needed with the hands on. But then hands off, let's be curious. Let's think in a particular way to just get the back a little bit easier in this moment. Let's give you a choice to do this or that so we don't get locked up in our body. Right.
You said
And then they get a little freer.
You said something when we first got together, and I never forgot it, about standing in a coffee shop, call it a Starbucks. And while you're waiting in line, practicing the technique. How would you know where to go with that? Like, okay, so you're standing in line, you're waiting, there's maybe 4 people in front of you, you got some time. What would prompt you to practice the technique on yourself? Is it you'd realize, you know what? Yeah, my shoulder's kind of tight. Yeah, I want to loosen that up. I want to, feel a little more flexible, less tension. Would it be that mindset and then you practice the technique while you're sitting there waiting?
Well, it could be for something like that if I was experiencing some tension for sure, Steve. Yeah. But it could just be because, well, I have some time to be a little bit easier still, right? And I can just check in from the head to the toe, head to the heels, shoulders to shoulders. It starts with that. It starts with awareness, right? And I can be aware when I'm standing in line. Just a little curiosity. Okay, well, how's the ease in my body right now? Start with something positive. Start with something positive, what's going right in me. And then, okay, well, what seems like it needs a little help right now?
So I'm seeing
How
this a
can
little.
I invite that?
I'm seeing this differently, and we're just about out of time. But I'm seeing this differently. You're not just using it because I've got like some tension up here. I actually really do. Um, it's more of you could just be feeling okay. It's an average day. It's all good. And while you're standing there waiting for your coffee, it sounds as if you're doing in your mind a body scan, top to from your head to your feet, and listening, analyzing based on the technique. What I got going on? Well, you know what? I didn't realize it. I have a little bit of tension over here, wherever it may be. Is that kind of what goes on? Like even during your day, might you do that?
Yeah, it's the first start. There's 3 principles. There's awareness, which we just mentioned. There's inhibition, and then there's direction. Those are the 3 main principles of the technique. Inhibition is this permission to be easy, to not do, to give yourself a choice to not do something. Right? It's the recognition that most of the time when we're in chronic tension patterns, it's because we're in the habit of doing too much. And just pause. Pause and wait. It's a good way of thinking of inhibition. And then I can redirect the energy. Okay, I'm getting tight in my neck. I'm getting tight in my back. I'm getting pulled down. Let me redirect it in the opposite space. There's ease in my neck. My head can release forward and up, and my whole back can lengthen and widen. I can just invite that passive flow of ease. And then I can get in touch with, okay, well, where's that going well? Where's it not going well? What am I doing in my whole self that's causing this area to be tight? I don't know, but let's find out. And let's come back to being easy in my neck again and see what happens. It's a continual set and reset of being curious, Steve. And just by the curiosity, we can let go of the tension.
Wow.
By focusing on the positive thing in your nervous system, then we can expand it into the negative thing in the nervous system. You can go anywhere you want to with your consciousness to any area of your body. Ideally, what you want to do is connect it to the whole self, because that's when things change holistically. You might be experiencing tension in your shoulders, but what you really might need is your legs to let go. You don't know. So we got to be curious. Got to not judge it and just keep thinking, not trying to feel it out.
It's super cool, as if you are in better control of your body. You're more in touch with your body, it sounds like, with this technique. You mentioned you have a quote. I thought you had said you might have one.
Today, no, I don't have a quote, my
Oh,
friend.
I thought you said you did. Okay.
No.
I'm fascinated that this is used by surgeons. I'm still in awe of that.
Yeah, no, they love it.
Wow. And think of what's going on, what's at stake, the amount of responsibility, pressure, and tension that surgeon has at that
Oh my
moment.
gosh.
I can't
I
even,
can't even imagine.
right?
Yeah.
Now imagine if there's some build-up tension, they got things going on. How impactful, amazing. How do we find you, Travis? How do we connect with you?
You can find me at my website, Steve, at www.bodymindbalanceco.com. Surgeons, if you want to get some more on the research, check out my research page on my website.
Ooh, I'm going there right now.
Go get over
Actually,
there, Steve.
I'm like a geek for stats, details, research, all of that. And again, this has been around for 150 plus years, proven
Yeah.
it works, and you're here to change lives, literally, by showing people how to do this technique. Thank you so much for being here today once again.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you.
Likewise, we'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.